Hello there and welcome back or welcome to my channel, and we are going to dive right into this color correction tutorial today. So this client of mine has some overtone on her hair, which is very much like a stain, and her end goal of course is to be as light as blonde as possible. And when it comes to these types of color corrections, I always like to do a color removal process first before I attempt any kind of lightening, because I just want to remove as much as that color as I possibly can first. Now, typically I would use a semi-permanent color remover in this situation, but I didn't have any of those on hand because this was a little bit unexpected. So I just whipped out a little bit of trick that I've learned over the years, and that's using Redken Shades Eq processing solution and a lightener of your choice. And I did try this with the Paul Mitchell processing solution and it worked the same. So I'm assuming you could really use any type of processing solution. And you're gonna wanna apply it just on the areas that are colored. Try to avoid the new growth as much as possible. And as you can see, this is gonna work super quickly. Like, it's going to start fading out right before your eyes, like as you're working it in. The Shades EQ processing solution is 7% developer. So that's how you're gonna get the color to lift out, essentially. And just because it worked for this overtone situation doesn't mean it will work for every fantasy color type situation. I also find that this is a lot safer than just trying to do like a normal lightening bleaching session with lower volume developers, because one, I find when you try to do it that way, it just kind of pushes the color back in there, and instead of getting the color fully out, you're just getting lighter levels of that color. So if you have hot pink, you're just gonna get like a light pink or lavender, or if you have blue, you're gonna get like a mint green, or if you have green, you're gonna get like a mint green or a neon yellow. And then at that point, you're just kind of piling lightener on top of lightener on top of lightener and just screwing that hair's porosity up by just trying to go through the different levels and different stages of that color. So that's why I like to just try to remove that color fully as much as possible, so I can get as much of an even clean canvas as possible before I go in with some lightening. So as you can see, it worked really well and it pulled that overtone right out. And because her end goal is to be as platinum as possible, we are going to go in with a full lightening session here. So absolutely everything is going to be in foils here. I am doing a combination of slicing, a combination of teasy lightening, and I am mostly just feathering upwards towards that root and not really taking it all the way up throughout most of this application, because we are going to have a bit of a more rooty dimensional finish look. And one thing you'll hear me say in most of my tutorials, if not all of them, is that I am one who likes to foil for coverage and not for blend. So when I am getting through my foil application, because 99.99% of the time my clients have a lot of hair, I'm just trying to get as much coverage as possible and not trying to focus on having this perfectly blended foiling application. My blending comes in whenever I am doing my toning applications, and that is because almost 100% of the time I am always doing some type of shadow rooted, root smudge, root blended, blonding, or just dimensional color in general type of look. Now, a couple years ago, I definitely used to focus more on having the most blended look in my foiling technique, but then I found that I lost a lot of coverage. Like, sure, it was blended and I really didn't have to do a lot toning wise other than overall toning, but I just found a lot of times that like I was dissatisfied or my clients were dissatisfied because you feel like you're doing all of this foiling and it's going to be so blonde and beautiful, and by the time you like brush your teeth out and this and that, it's like, where'd all the blonde go? So her formula was Paul Mitchell 7PA and 6NB, and then for her mids and ends we did 8VB, 9V with a teeny tiny dash of 9AA for balance. She lifted a bit highlighter yellow here, so I definitely wanted to let that process for the full 20 minutes before we rinsed her out. And for my lightener, I used Schwarzkopf Blondeme with 7 volume. That's it. no higher. And of course added an Olaplex for that extra protection. If you like this tutorial and want to see more like it, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to see some more unfiltered content, make sure you follow my TikTok at Hannah Delaney Hair. All the product info for this tutorial will be in the description, and make sure to drop comments for tutorials that you would like to see in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.